Twilly-dilly-dee, 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 tweet, 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 tweet.
She talks to the people all night long, chatting and a gabbing and a singing her song. All the divas down on Rainbow Street love to hear Toni go tweet, tweet, tweet. Talking Toni,
Tweet, tweet,
talking Toni.
tweet, twilly-dee,
Whoa, talking Toni, gonna talk tonight.
tweet, twilly-dee.
Hello, you're listening to Talking Toni on Rudy Radio, powered by Strong Island Entertainment. I'm your host, Toni Homeperm. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is the world premiere of my very own radio show here on the Strong Island Entertainment Network. So I'm very excited to be here, and I think we're going to have a great show. And joining us tonight is none other than my own husband, Frank Beccari, the Wig Wizard.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, husband. How are you?
Hi, fine.
It's so nice of you to join me on my show. It was really hard to get him here tonight, but hey, I drove him here. He has no choice. So everyone knows Toni Homeperm as the singing drag queen with the fabulous wigs. And what they may not realize is that all these fabulous wigs are done by you, Frank.
Yes.
So now you actually had wanted me to. My husband is so thoughtful. He came up with this whole list of questions for me to ask him because he's always so helpful. But I'm gonna throw a little surprise at him, and I actually came up with some questions for you of my own. So I'm gonna put you in the hot seat, my dear.
Okay.
So maybe we'll get to the questions that you wanted to ask. But what I did is in my little satchel here, my little diva purse, I have some questions written on cards. So what I need you to do is pull one out, and we're gonna see what we're gonna find out from Frank Beccari, the Wig Wizard. Okay. All right. The first one. Oh, I like this question because it's about me. What is your most liked and least liked Toni Homeperm looks?
Well, I like Toni Homeperm in big hair.
Big hair, yes.
Toni Homeperm looks good in big hair.
Yes, she does.
Classic drag, old school drag.
Yes.
But I don't like Toni Homeperm in anything flat
I know.
and anything straight.
No, you don't. And that's actually one of your pet peeves, I would say, is you hate like those, very straight, very flat wigs.
Well, they're great for the young drag queens because
Yes.
they imitate the young performers.
Because they're young and pretty and thin.
They imitate the young performers, many of whom have long straight hair.
Very true, very true.
But my aesthetic is more old school classic drag from the 50s, 60s. So I like big hair because of that.
Correct. That I know that's what you love. And fortunately, that's what you do, and that's what I look good in.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Oh, I see Lady LaBelle is in the viewing audience listening along. Thank you, LaBelle. It's so nice of you to join us. If anyone wants to call in, the number here is 516-945-9099. So if you want to actually call in, we can talk to you live. So, okay, so that was one question. Let's keep it going. Frank, pull out another one. Let's see. We haven't gotten to the juicy stuff yet.
Oh, I'm afraid. I'm very afraid.
Be afraid. Be very afraid. Oh, okay, here we go. What is your biggest pet peeve when you see drag queens wearing wigs?
One thing that bothers me is some drag queens will have their wigs pulled down to within a half-inch of their eyebrows.
I know.
That
you hate
drives me
that.
crazy. I
I
want to run
know.
up on stage and push their wigs back. Also, a lot of drag queens do a lot of dancing,
True.
wonderful dancing,
Yes, not me.
but they don't glue their wigs down.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing to see is in the middle of a drag performance, a drag queen constantly turning around to readjust her wig, pull it back on, or worse yet,
Worse.
it becomes flying off.
Oh, that's terrible. Yes, there is nothing worse than that.
And personally,
Yes.
I know it's very popular. I'm not crazy about the type of reveal where at the end of their act they pull their wig off and throw it into the audience. I think they should maintain their persona right till the end.
That's very true. So I wanted to see if anyone was commenting, but no comments as yet. So okay, pull out another question. I don't think we've gotten to the good stuff yet. Oh, here we go. Here we go, Frank.
Oh no.
Describe your craziest wig request.
I have one client who I absolutely love in Connecticut who likes sort of wild, bizarre looks.
Yes.
So I've done some of those. I've done a Renaissance look, which was not bizarre, but it was very different. And I've done a lot of 30s looks, which, again, not bizarre, but very different for drag queens.
Right, right.
And I really enjoy doing those as well. They're different.
Yes. So actually, Frank, let's delve a bit into your background, because a lot of people who know me and come to see my shows, they don't get to find out a lot about you. And actually, that's one of your pet peeves when I forget to introduce you. When somebody has come up to me and is talking to me, and I don't introduce you. But I've been trying to be a lot better about it. You have to admit. You have to admit.
Yes, you are. Yes,
So
you are.
I do. So yes. So performers, if your significant other is with you and somebody comes up to you and wants to say hello, and introduce your significant other to them too. So that's only the right thing to do. But for those who don't know, you actually, unlike a lot of drag queen wig stylists, you are a licensed hairstylist.
Yes.
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 But another hidden fact about you is that is not what you originally went to school for.
No, it's not.
And what did you go to school for?
For court reporting.
No. Even before then.
For music.
For music, correct. Yes. And what did you study?
I studied piano. Classical piano for many, many years.
Classical piano. We actually have a baby grand in our home, which you'll tinker on a little bit sometimes, but you don't get too much time.
I'm too busy doing wigs.
You're too busy doing wigs, either for me or someone else.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially for you.
Especially for me. I hope so. I hope I rate pretty high on the priority.
Yeah, of course you do.
Of who gets their wig done first. But yes, so you went to the Manhattan School of Music.
Yes, I did.
And you were studying classical piano.
Yes.
And you studied, even before you went to Manhattan School of Music, you studied for years.
Yes, from when I was 11 years old.
11 years old. Now, what I know the story, but what inspired you, what drew you to the piano as a child?
I just like the sound of it. Actually, as a child growing up, my mom's aunt and uncle upstate had a bar restaurant, and we used to go spend time with them on vacation. And I used to stand in the back door of the bar, and just to the right of it was a man playing the piano. And that's the first time I saw someone playing the piano and was mesmerized by it.
Right. And that's
what started it.
And that's what started it.
Yes.
And from there, then you started taking lessons.
Sure.
And,
Yep.
and I remember you telling me that even like in school, like you would get out of gym or things because they knew you studied piano, and they knew like your parents didn't want your hands getting injured.
Didn't want my fingers to get broken playing sports.
Right.
So I worked in the office for the gym teacher. I did his paperwork. Yeah.
Oh, lucky you! I wish I could have gotten out of gym class like that. No, I was like tortured and like put out on the field, and they were like always telling me to block. I didn't know what that meant, so I just stood there and tried to like fake it. But that was my tale of woe from gym. You were lucky. So, and then you were in Manhattan School of Music for how long did you actually attend?
I was actually in for only 2 years.
2 years.
I then dropped out
You dropped out.
because I actually came out of the closet at the time, and there was a whole world that I was learning about.
Right.
And I did not want to spend 6 hours a day on the piano anymore. Mm-hmm. So
And this was very late 60s, early
Yes.
70s.
late 60s, yeah.
So then you dropped out of Manhattan School of Music, and then what happened?
I went to hairdressing school.
Hairdressing school, and and one right here on Long Island.
Yes, right in Hauppauge, Long Island. Yes.
Which school was it?
This was, at the time, it was called Hauppauge Beauty School. There were two. There were Hauppauge Beauty School and Patrick Beauty School, owned by two brothers. They then turned it into Long Island Beauty Institute, which is a different building, but right near the original building, and a much bigger school.
Now, and when you were attending school at that time, and you've told me this, they were still doing the traditional roller sets
Yes.
and the hair techniques
Yes.
that they don't really do anymore.
No. Actually, that's what really helped me with styling wigs, because most wigs, especially for classic drag looks, need to be set and teased. And the young people today barely learn that in hairdressing school.
Right.
So when I started doing wigs for drag queens, I pulled out all my old knowledge from back then.
Right.
Because after the roller setting and teasing, I was right on the end of that and the beginning of the blow dry cutting era. So for years that I worked in salons, I did cutting and blow drying. But when I started doing drag queen hair about 3 years ago, I had to pull out all my old knowledge of setting and teasing.
And if we go back 3 years ago, that's when I started doing drag.
Yes.
So the very first thing that I did was the April's a Drag Cabaret.
Yes.
With the Long Island Gay Men's Chorus.
Yes.
And my friend Ariel Sinclair was the hostess of that, and we had our other good friend Lady LaBelle was one of the performers with Violet Storm and Nonstick Pam. And if you remember, when I first said I was going to do that, and at the time I had my full goatee. You didn't even want me to shave my goatee. You wanted me to do like a
bearded drag
drag queen look and put glitter in the goatee.
Yes.
Which is so funny when we think back on that now, because you are so because really you're my stylist, I would say. You style my wigs, you help me with the styling the clothing, makeup, you help with song selection and performances. So when I think back now about you originally wanting me to be a bearded queen, that's something you would never ever suggest now.
No, not at all.
Now you're very.
I mean, some people do it and they're very good at it.
Yes, like
but
Frida Cox.
I know Toni Home Perm without the beard.
Yes.
And goatee. Yeah.
Yes, but that is something you would never want to see me do as like a bearded queen. Not that there's anything wrong with it. You just don't see it as on me. So which is fine.
And actually, back then, this event you're talking about is how I got started doing drag wigs.
Doing the drag wigs, yes.
A very good
started
friend
everything.
of ours and client, Anita Moorhead.
Anita Moorhead.
We love Anita Moorhead.
My drag mother.
Anita had called and asked me to bring along my styling tools because her hairdresser was on vacation. So when I got there was not a lot I could do with her wigs because they were very heavily sprayed and teased.
Right.
I was able to fluff them, but after the event, I asked her if she would give me one of her wigs to wash out and start from scratch. Wash out, reset it, restyle it, and she loved the look.
Yes.
I know the look that she likes.
Yes.
And I started doing her wigs. She became a very good client, and of course, she's a great friend.
Yes.
And by word of mouth, I got many more people originally from Anita Moorhead.
Very true. Very true.
And then, of course, I started doing yours.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So if anyone is just tuning in, you're listening to Talking Toni on Rudy Radio, powered by Strong Island Entertainment. I'm Toni Holmperm. I'm here with my husband, Frank Beccari, known to most of the drag queens on Long Island as the Wig Wizard. I know listening in the viewing audience, we have Lucy Cubano. Lady LaBelle is listening. Lady LaBelle actually wanted to know if you still play piano.
Actually, I just don't have time anyway. I keep saying that I'm going to take an hour a day and start practicing and get my fingers all limbered up again, but it just never happens.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, and our very good friend Olivia London, my co-host on Diva Time,
Yes.
is in the audience, and you've done wigs for Lady LaBelle.
Yes.
You've done wigs for
Although,
Olivia.
I have to say, Lady LaBelle
Yes.
herself is a phenomenal wig stylist as well.
Yes, very very true.
Very good.
Very
Yeah.
true. You've done a couple for her.
Yes.
A couple.
Yes.
Usually she styles her own
Yes.
wigs.
Yes.
Which she does amazingly
Beautiful
well.
work. Yeah.
Amazingly well.
Yeah.
Yes. So that cabaret was really what kicked off everything. The whole
For both of us.
for both of us.
Yes.
Toni Holmperm and the Wig Wizard.
And I had done a wig for you in your then natural color of
Yes.
very dark
Very
brown.
dark hair.
And we put it on Toni, and it looked horrendous. Toni can't go beyond any darker than a strong red color.
True.
Reds, blondes, platinums. Toni looks best in platinum, actually, I think.
True. And what's funny is that because my natural hair color is very dark brown, but I've actually now even gone platinum with my natural hair color,
Yes.
which I actually spent most of yesterday getting my hair processed.
Hours in the salon.
Hours in the salon.
I'm not a colorist, so
Right.
Toni has to go have it done by a professional colorist.
Yes. A good friend of ours, Lisa, who runs Through the Looking Glass
Yes.
in Ronkonkoma.
Yes.
So, but going back to when you were after you got out of hairstyling school, that you worked in quite a few salons.
Yes.
In Long Island.
Yes.
And you owned your own salon for
For a short time.
For a short
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And what was it called? I love the name.
Shavu.
Shavu.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with that?
Because that means hair in French, but a lot of people said chevaux, which means horse. Yeah.
Oh, so if they said it wrong, they weren't saying hair, they were saying horse.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you didn't keep it open that long. Maybe. But so you worked on a bunch of places.
Yes.
Hair salons on Long Island.
Yes.
But then you actually worked at quite a very well-known place in the city.
Yes.
Yes.
At Vidal Sassoon.
Vidal Sassoon, yes.
When they were on 59th Street and Fifth Avenue. They're down in Chelsea now. Yeah.
And you actually met Vidal and his wife,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Very nice people.
And you worked on, I think you said you did a lot of models.
A lot of models from the different modeling agencies would send them to Sassoon to get their hair done. Yes. And it's interesting because you see them in the magazines, and they're absolutely stunning. But when they come in to get their hair done, they're in ripped up sweatshirts and ripped up jeans, and you would never know that they're the same person.
Right. They look completely different.
Very different.
Without the makeup and the hair
Very
and
different.
the
Well,
clothing.
Like a drag queen.
Well,
Very
yes,
different.
Very
without the
true.
makeup and hair.
Yes, it's very true. When I came into the studios here a couple of weeks ago, and Joanna saw me as Toni as a boy for the first time, even though she'd met me a couple times as Toni the drag queen, she came up to me and she said, "Oh, hello, I'm Joanna. Nice to meet you." And I was like, "Joanna, it's me, Toni." And she was like, "Oh my God!" And she couldn't believe.
Well, that happens to me also. Sometimes we're out, Toni and I are out, and there'll be someone I know is a drag queen in boy clothes in
Right.
the evening, and Toni will be saying hello and talking to them, and after they walk away, I say to Toni, "Who's that?" He said, "Oh, that's so-and-so, the drag queen."
Right.
But I've never seen them as a boy.
As a boy.
So I have no idea who they are.
True, yes. So yes, it can be quite a transformation.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
So and I always kind of giggle inside when I meet somebody, one way or the other, and they haven't seen me, and as the other persona, and they don't know who I am.
They don't know the boy you.
Yeah, or when they see me in drag, and then when they see me as a boy, and they don't know that it's the same person. So that's one of the perks of being a drag queen, I guess.
It's a disguise.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful disguise.
Yes.
So you did that. You worked for Sassoon for quite a while.
I worked all over the place.
Yes, you were
I worked
everywhere.
in Queens, I worked in Nassau, I worked in Suffolk, I
That's
worked
right.
in Manhattan. Yeah, it was all over.
You worked everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay. Well, you know what? I wanna have you pull out another hot seat question.
All right.
Okay. Oh, I like this one. What do you think is the biggest difference between boy Tony and drag Tony?
Actually, when Tony's in drag, she takes on a whole different persona, which sometimes could be a little snappy
Does
And
my
a-
inner diva come out?
and a little diva-ish. So, but otherwise, there's not much of a difference.
Not much, right?
No. Taller with the very high
Yes,
shoes.
taller.
Yes.
Yes, actually, Rudy actually commented about that when he first met me as a boy. He was like, "You're a lot shorter." I was like, "Well, I don't have the high heels and I don't have the wig on." So yes, I actually am quite a lot shorter. My friend Gregory Barbera from the chorus is
hi,
tuning
Greg.
in. Hi, Greg, and of course Zoe Dunford is listening. Hi, Zoe.
Love Zoe.
We
Yes.
love Zoe. Yes, so she's a very good friend of ours. Oh my goodness. So now this little satchel or this little case, this purse, this was actually given to me by Alexis Flame.
Yes.
And
The legend, Alexis
the
Flame.
legendary Alexis Flame. Now it was actually Alexis who gave you the moniker, the Wig Wizard.
Right, right. But that actually doesn't have as much to do with my styling.
Mm-hmm.
There are many wig stylists across the country who
Mm-hmm.
do absolutely gorgeous work. But the Wig Wizard really came from the fact that I can take a very old matted wig.
Yes.
Somebody will bring me a wig that's matted and teased and has been laying in the bottom of a closet for a year. And they'll tell me, if you can't do anything with this, just throw it away. And I'm able to restore it. It's laborious. It's in a business sense, it's not
Profitable.
cost effective.
Cost effective.
But I do it just for the self-satisfaction. I'm able to transform it back to a sleek, shiny wig. And of course, from that point on, I style it for them. Cut it and style it.
Yes, I know. I've seen sometimes you get one of these wigs that's been through the ringer.
It looks like a bird's nest, yes.
And most people would look at it and say, "Oh, this is horrible. I'm going to throw this away." And you actually will be like, "You know what? I can do something fabulous with this." And you're like brushing it out like mad, and then
Yes.
and then you're washing it. And sometimes you're giving like these wigs like multiple
Yes.
washing, because sometimes a lot of the drag queens, we're working in bars or we're around people that are smoking a lot, and so a lot of nicotine
Yes.
seems to get into the wigs, because
Nicotine dust
I've
or-
seen you washing wigs out and the water is pretty bad.
Yes,
That is
yes.
like very brown and
Yes, yes.
you know.
And also, sometimes someone will bring me a wig that it's a mess, but they have a particular attachment, an emotional attachment to.
True.
It was given to them by
Someone
a close
else.
friend,
Right, right.
or they wore it for many events, and they're emotionally attached to it, and they'll ask me, "Can you do anything with this?"
Right,
And most of the times, 99, sometimes you get one that's so bad
right.
that the only thing you could do is turn it inside out and use it as a base for a stacked wig look.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and you have done that. You
Yes,
have
two
done
wigs,
that.
2 wigs on top. Yeah.
Yes. So it's actually a wonderful thing that you and I have this partnership
Yes.
with the wigs, Tony Home Perm.
Yes.
And what a lot of people don't realize is we have been together now. I think it's close to, is it
17 years.
It will next month be 17 years?
17 years, yes.
17 years we've been together.
Yes.
And married legally here in the state of New York since 2011.
Yes.
So, and it's, we've been together a lot longer than even a lot of straight couples.
Of course. Of course.
So, and it's just, what do you think is the secret to our long-term success as a couple?
Well, on your part,
Even though I drive you crazy sometimes.
on your part, you tend to ignore me most of the time. So that makes me very bearable.
When I just say yes,
On my part, I get some really good foot rubs at night watching TV.
Well, after you've been standing up all day working on the
Yeah,
wigs,
I know,
I guess it's
I
the least. I figure it's the least that I can do.
Yeah, and you're lucky because you have a built-in wig style. You know,
I know.
mothers tell their daughters, marry a lawyer.
Right.
Drag mothers tell their drag daughters, marry a wig stylist.
Marry a wig stylist.
Yes.
Very true. Very
Yes,
true.
yes.
I like that. Although you weren't a wig stylist when I married you.
No.
It just happened to work out that
you
way.
You weren't a drag queen.
I'm saying very true. I
When
wasn't
I
a drag
married
queen.
you, yeah.
You weren't a wig stylist.
Yeah.
So yes. So, but yeah, it's like sometimes amazes me. How we've stuck together.
Sure, of course.
So long. When I see
No one
so
else
many.
No one else would have either of us.
This is true. we can put up with each other's
can put up with each other.
craziness.
Yeah.
I don't know who else would.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you there's someone out there for everyone.
Yes.
Yes. Zoe is actually commenting that that we've been together for a long time. Yes, we have.
Yes.
So. But yes, you've done some amazing things with reconditioning wigs
Yes,
that other
yes.
people would just
It's fun.
toss.
Yeah, just the whole wig business for me is a lot of fun. We have a dear friend, Toni and I, who says, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And
That's
I
our
actually,
friend Barbara.
before I started doing the drag queen wigs, I was doing social work for a while. Mm-hmm. And then I got so busy with the wigs.
Right.
And since I'm retirement age anyway, I retired and I'm doing the wigs full time. Mm-hmm. And it's just a lot of fun. I love working with my clients. I love working with the wigs. And I love doing the classic looks. The bigger hair, the better. The bigger the hair, the better
That's
the
right.
hair.
I know you.
That's
love
my look. Yeah.
I know you love
because
the big
when
hair.
I was young, when I first saw drag queens, when I first started going to gay bars in Manhattan in like 1969, that's what drag queens looked like. They
Right.
had big hair. They had elegant gowns.
Most of them didn't they do like a celebrity impersonation
a lot
at
of
that
them-
time?
yeah. They were doing Carol Channing. They were doing Streisand. They were doing Judy Garland. They were even doing Ethel Merman.
Right.
And they did a lot of impersonations of celebrities.
Right. Which nowadays most drag queens, they'll sometimes, even I've sometimes impersonated Dolly Parton,
Right.
but usually for the most part I'm just
persona, as a friend of ours, Bellanoche, calls it.
Yes.
Their own brand.
their own brand, a word that you've never let me live down.
I know. I'm always telling you to stick to your brand.
Stick to your brand.
Stick to your
Whenever I try to veer off too much to the left or the right, you're the first one to say to me, "That's not your brand." Bella told you that's not your brand.
We guys who are married to drag queens are called drag husbands.
Yes, and you are one of the best
And
drag
I'm
husbands
a very
around.
involved drag husband and how Toni
Yes.
Holmgren looks.
Yes, and like I say, this is a great partnership because Toni Holmgren is not a one woman show. She's actually a 2-man show.
Yeah, yes.
So, and I'm quite lucky to have you behind
Yes,
me.
yes.
So so everyone out there, listening, watching, my husband Frank, he's just the best person I could ever possibly have in my life, and I'm very fortunate, very lucky to have him in my corner, and I'm happy that this worked out. That you're my actual first guest.
Yes.
So-
I'm always behind you with a teasing
I
comb
know.
and a can of hairspray.
Always- yes, pulling the luggage. So again, I want to thank everyone for viewing and listening in to this very first episode of Talking Toni on Rudy Radio, powered by the Strong Island Entertainment Network. So I thank you all for tuning in and listening, and I can't wait to be back in 2 weeks, same time, for the next episode of Talking Toni. So until then, good night.
Twilly-dilly-dee, 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 tweet, 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 tweet.
She talks to the people all night long, chatting and a gabbing and a singing her song. All the divas down on Rainbow Street love to hear Toni go tweet, 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 talking Toni.
Tweet,
Talking Tony.
tweet, tweedledee.
Oh, Talking Tony really gonna talk tonight.